guys, hope everybody's doing well today. I thought I'd bring you along here and just make a short video on the final stages of finishing up Bob's knife here. We've got 3 coats of poly on there and sanded, lightly sanded between each coat. And I just finished sanding this again. So that's 3 coats sanded of poly on this handle. And we're going to put, I think this will be our final coat. This thing is so smooth now, it's ridiculous, so it should come out after this coat. I think we'll be good. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and put the final coat of poly on this one here. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. Let's get to it. Alright, so here's our knife. And what I actually use to paint my poly on with is just one of these styrofoam little brushes. You can buy them at wherever, you know. Anywhere they sell paint, I'm sure you can buy one of these. Then I just cut off a little piece that I want to use for my brush. And there's my little paintbrush right there. Takes ever so little of this stuff to go a long way. Get these very front little bevels in the wood here where the micarta meets the blade. Get those first. And now we'll get our spine and what have you. I don't want to actually get it on the spine of the tang. We only want it on the wood and the micarta. Just have to go slow and hold your hand steady. See what I mean about a little bit of this stuff goes a long way? You don't want to put it on there very heavy, it will run. That's been my experience anyway. So you see, we've done pretty much this whole face of this handle with just one little dip of polyurethane. So, a little dab will do you on that stuff, you know. Don't have to go overboard. Use a whole ton of it because it will run. This stuff is very thin. So if you put just a little bit too much, it will run on you. And then you've got these hardened, you know, dribs hanging down that you've got to try to figure out what to do with. Which is only one thing you can do. You resand it and you do it again. So it behooves one to be very careful and not get that stuff on there too thick. You know, poly is it's a fickle thing. You wanna, it's beautiful when it's done, but it's a kind of a little bit of a process, you know. Several coats, several sandings. You know, you don't sand it heavy. Once it's cured enough for sanding, you sand it with a real light. I think after my first coat I did 1200. Second coat I stayed with 1200. Third coat, we just sanded the third coat and we used 1500 grit on the third coat of sanding this. So that's a 1500 grit with our fourth coat of poly. And I think that's going to be our last coat. Hopefully. We'll see what it looks like when it all cures up. But if it's not orange peeled anywhere, or you know, any kind of flaws in there that we can really see, that's going to be our final coat. So now we'll put it in the clamp. So I have a clamp to the counter here. And we'll wrap this cloth around our blade, and we'll clamp this blade to this other clamp. A little redneck engineering there, but it works. So this way, if we do get any kind of runs, or, you know, it would never drip. There's not nearly enough on there for it to drip. But if it was to run, it would just pool in a little bump, a little drop on the bottom of this tank somewhere. So if it's down here on the bottom, it's not as visible. It's a little easier to come in and clean that up and throw a little bit of poly over it than it would be if it was, say, up here where it's a lot more visible. So there it is in our clamp. Kind of a, you know, clamp one clamp to the counter, kind of upside down with that shank sticking up, and then clamp the blade of the knife to that. Holds it quite nicely, right at the attitude where we want it. And we can get that to focus a little better, maybe. It's pretty wood. It's going to come out pretty nice, I believe. So yeah. Fourth coat of poly, 1500 grit sanding after the third coat of poly. And that's where we are. Well, alright guys, after four coats of polyurethane and you know, quite a bit of, you know, finished sanding and all of that, there we have it. Bob's knife is done, and that handle is still, I mean, it's dry. I can touch it, but It's just real glassy, and I don't want to put a mark in it. It actually needs like another good 12 hours probably to be where we want it to be, but there it is. And we're making progress on the Damascus knife, but that's a little slower than that handle. That meticulous, all the bolster and all that's slowing that one down a little bit. So there she is. I got a tiny little spot right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's just a little spot there where I need to do just a tiny touch up with some, I didn't quite cover it. I don't know how I missed that, but there's just this little, it almost looks like a scrape on there, but it's not. It's where we sanded it the last time, and I didn't quite, somehow I just missed it as I was putting the poly on. So we've got to do that little bit. But otherwise, that's it. This knife is done, and we got to grind the secondary bevels into it now that we're all finished handling it. I don't want to do it yet because I can't get a hold of the knife like I need to. Our plunge lines are out here far enough that, you know, when we're grinding this on the belt grinder, we don't have to worry about getting into our handle or anything. That'll be fine. I just find it easier in most scenarios to wait. We've got this real close, but yet it's, you know, it's still dull enough that I can get a hold of it and do what I need to do without worrying about slicing my hands open. So there that bad boy is. Another one in the books for all intents and purposes. Have to do that one little touch up there, but otherwise she's ready to go. She's done. So there's that one. We're on the home stretch with the Damascus knife too. We'll have a video coming up on that one here. I don't know. I have to work tomorrow. I was off today. We were able to get that one done, and I was able to get some work done on the Damascus, but we'll see how finishing that one comes out. It's not a lot of work. It's just a bunch of meticulous work that takes time and a lot of hand polishing and fitting and everything. We're right down to the finished details on getting this handle together on this Damascus knife, so we got to take our time. There's a lot of fine little finger hand sanding that has to be done on some spots, like with these bolster, you know, these pommel pieces and our bolsters and what have you. So but we'll get back on that one now. We got Bob's done and we're ready to move on. So hey, I appreciate you watching, joining me in the shop today for a little bit, and in the kitchen, I guess, right? So everybody take care of yourselves, get out to your shop and do something, have some fun, bang around a little bit, stir up a little dust, whatever. Be sure to wear your dust mask, safety goggles, be safe, and we'll see you on the next one.